can sense the intensity as they await the arrival of the Tennessee team here at Neyland Stadium. The number one undefeated Volunteers prepare to race onto the field. Everything is riding on this football game. So there's a special intensity, a special urgency. Here come the Volunteers. Wherever you listen throughout the world, it's football time in Tennessee.
What's up, YouTubes? What's up, Vol fans, college football fans? Glad to have you on the show. Man, we had one heck of a show on Wednesday night. We had the legendary Uncle Lou. Had a fantastic show. The calls were great. But we got Couch Coach back with us. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about, should a team make a bowl game at 5-7, and what the remedy could be for that, and go over some of the picks: Georgia versus Auburn, Tennessee, Kentucky, Florida, USC Junior, Alabama, Mississippi State. And what else do y'all want to talk about? You can call the show, the Allied Oil and Tire hotline, at 855-489-7623. And while I bring Couch Coach on here with us, I'm going to take me a sip of this good old Pilot Flying J coffee. Best coffee on the road, I have to tell you that. Are you a coffee drinker, Couch Coach?
I have become a coffee drinker recently, and I tell you, it's what's keeping me alive on the road, sir.
Well, I tell you what, if you ever pass a Pilot Flying J, you need to get you some coffee from there. They got their Columbia roast. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you my routine. I don't put sugar in my coffee because I'm on a diet, but I use a lot of cream, and I fill it about halfway full of that Columbia roast, and then the rest of the way with their house blend. And man, it's good stuff. But it runs through me, though. That's the only thing. I can't drink too much of it, or I've got to stop. And you can't make any money sitting in a truck stop. That's all I know. But like Alan V says, hit the like button if you like this show. Hey, if you don't like the show, hit that thumbs down button. I'd like to know how y'all are feeling. And I see Matt G's in here talking about the Vols basketball. Before we go into that, let me hit this basketball subject. I've got some predictions. You know, last year I said we was going to national championship. I promised you that. And then I had to amend it to the Final Four. But here's some real deal predictions. Grant Williams is a preseason player of the year, but I'm going to tell you, Admiral Schofield is going to have a better year than Grant Williams. And Admiral Schofield and Grant Williams are the best two players in college basketball, period. We're going to sweep Kentucky again. I know I've got a lot of Kentucky fans that watch me, but we're going to sweep you again. Break out the brooms. And we're going to the Final Four. I'm not ready to say national championship quite yet, but I might say it before March gets here. But anyway, I see everybody starting to file in, and the phone lines are open. 855-489-7623. The good folks at Allied Oil and Tire. Go see Brett Black there in Joplin. But they've got locations in Omaha, Des Moines, Wichita, Kansas City, and Joplin. So anywhere in the Midwest, if you got a big truck, they'll help you out with truck tires and oil. That's where I get all my maintenance done. And they're great, great, great folks. And I'd love to see you. Tell them Catfish sent you. But anyway, I've got a few things I'd like to start the show off with, Couch Coach. And before we go into the pick'ems, do you think a 5-7 team should make a bowl game? I don't think so, but Alan V called up when Uncle Lou was guest hosting with me and brought up a good point. You get a lot of extra practices that you wouldn't normally get. I see that, but there's just something, there should be something special about a bowl game. And it seems like when we've got 557 bowls, you've kind of lost that specialness. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's kind of the same argument that you see in the NFL when you see these division winners win their division and go 7-9 and get into the playoffs. And then you'll see another team that can't win their division and they'll be like 10-6 and they don't make it. To me, that there's a problem with that. I mean, I think if you're 10-6, you should be able to make the playoffs in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
But I think that at the same time, you have seen situations in the NFL where you'll see a 7-9 football team win a game or two. I mean, like that team that Tim Tebow was on a few years back, I think they were like 8-8 or something, and they beat the Steelers first round of the playoffs. And so you can have those situations in college football too. And I think you have to look at the conference. I mean, 5-7 in the SEC is a little bit different than going, say, 5-7 in the ACC or 5-7 in some of these other kind of conferences. And so I think that you have to really look at that. If you go 5-7 in the SEC West and say you're playing some really tough games, I mean, or even 6-6 there, that's probably as good as going 8-4 in the SEC East or some of these other places. And so you have to look at that. But just overall, I agree. I think there's way too many games, and you have to make it a special event, for people who want to buy money and go to it. And so that's where I think we've lost a lot of that going into the playoff system.
Yeah, I don't know what the remedy would be. You mentioned something about losing a regular season game. I don't know if you could rehash that here on air, but I thought that was a pretty good idea.
Yeah, I think that I like it, and especially as we get into this playoff system, and especially if you're talking about going to an 8-game playoff, I think we need to get rid of one of these, non-FBS opponents. Every opponent needs to do that. Every team needs to do that. I would like to see the college football season go back to 11 games, because that way you go 6-5. That's a winning record. You go to a bowl game. And then, especially if you're going into an 8-game playoff or going into conference play, it just makes more sense. I think that, the extra practices to me don't really matter. I think it's more about quality instead of quantity there. And I would much rather see, and especially in the SEC, if you're playing like 6-7, you're playing 6 conference games, 7. Well, hold on, 6 in your division plus 2 from the other side. So that's 8 SEC games. And then you have an out of conference or whatever. So I just think that let's lose one of these non-FBS opponents and get some really good quality teams. And then maybe you see a team that's like a good 11-2 team or a good, 9-2 team getting in there and doing some really good damage and beating some of these teams that are 13-0 or something. I mean, to me, that's what I love about the NFL is seeing these teams that go 10-6 or 9-7 knock off some of these teams that are like, 14-2 or something like that. And so that's what's great about playoff football. But that's just some suggestions I would make. I would much rather go back to 11 games and have it be that way.
Yeah, it's almost like college football is such a money machine. It's kind of turned into NASCAR come bowl season. Everybody wants to sponsor a bowl. There must be a lot of money to be made and a lot of good advertising. I don't know, but we got way too many bowls. I mean, they could cut the bowl number in half and still I would be all right with that. How many bowls are there? There's like, what, 30 of them? I can't remember now, but it seems like every year they add 2 or 3 bowls.
Something like that. But I will say with the cool thing about having the extra bowls is that when you see a team like if a Georgia State ever gets to a bowl game, it's just something that's really special to an up-and-coming program like that, or like a Charlotte where it's like, oh, my gosh, we're kind of like a big football team. We can, play in these bowls and have it mean something. And so you hate to take those kind of opportunities away from schools like that work so hard and, they're not going to get the opportunities that some of the bigger teams will get. And so I would hate to see that. But, yeah, I mean, no one cares about the Papa John's Bowl or whatever. So you want to make the bowl special is kind of my deal. I think – and that's where I always hated the old system of, well, we have to do this conference allegiance, and we're going to put Iowa and USC. Well, why? Why not have a USC and a Georgia matchup? Why not have a Tennessee and an Oklahoma State in a Cotton Bowl, right? Like those are the kind of things that you want to see, matchups that you don't get to see all the time. And so I just think I will say with the new system of college football, it just looks better when we get these better matchups, and that's what it should really be about is the matchups, because that's what's going to drive the bottom line.
Yeah. Well, I guess we got some games. The game lineup this week is not too shabby. I mean, obviously the game of the weekend has got to be Tennessee, Kentucky. You got Georgia, Auburn, Florida, USC Junior, and Alabama, Mississippi State. Out of all those, what do you think? Who has the best chance of upsetting? I think Tennessee is what, a 4-point underdog. I would probably put them up there. Does Mississippi State have a chance?
Well, I mean, everyone has a chance. I mean, the line I just saw recently is -23, but I can't doubt Alabama anymore, man. I mean, what does even a close game look like to these guys? Is it 20 points? Is that a good game against them now? I just it's frustrating to watch, and and I've talked to other Georgia fans about this, and I'm just going to sit here and pout a little bit as a Georgia fan because it almost feels like these Florida. You remember when Florida was really good in the 90s, and Tennessee also had some really good teams, and Tennessee couldn't even get out of their own division because Florida is one of the best teams in college football. And I would hate for that to happen to Georgia, to have these kind of situations where we're having some of our best teams, but we can't get over freaking Nick Saban because, for God's sakes, he got a quarterback. And if there's any fan base that deserves this less, it's Alabama fans. I mean, really? You need – okay, now you're going to get a quarterback and now you're going to be elite? I mean, why not? Why now? So it's just it's aggravating, but what can you do? You have to play them. So.
Yep. Well, we got a caller on hold, and I need a Kentucky fan to call in. I don't know if they're real confident about their team right now. They may be feeling, I don't know, a little lost or a little down, but Tennessee's got something for you, Kentucky, coming this Saturday. I'm telling you, we're winning that ball game. We've got to win it. We've got to win the next 2 out of 3, and we're going to win the next 2 out of 3. Heck, Couch Coach, we might even win out. I know a lot of people think that's crazy, but let's go to the phone lines, the Allied Oil Tire Hotline. Let's see. Who do we have here for Couch Coach and Catfish? What you got?
Hey, good morning, Catfish. It's Alan B.
Hey, Alan. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How's Couch Coach doing? You doing okay over there, Couch Coach?
I'm doing excellent, sir. I'm getting ready for this Deep South's oldest rivalry. One of my favorites.
There you go. A classic. I was noticing the betting line, Catfish, on the Kentucky-Tennessee game. You know, Benny Snell rolled his ankle that first quarter of the Georgia game, and the points went from Kentucky favored by a field goal to Kentucky favored by 5.5, and I just couldn't see it. I mean, I would think anybody would be crazy not to choose Tennessee with 5.5 points. What do you think?
I'm going to let Couch Coach answer that because I'm a little biased, and I'll come in after him, and I'll give you my opinion. What do you think, Couch Coach? I thought you said it was at 4, so it's at 5.5 now. I think you got to put your money on Tennessee.
Yeah, I would. And I think that with Tennessee, the biggest question mark is that offensive line because we were able to shove them around. And I got to be honest with you, I heard all this noise about Kentucky all week long. They didn't impress me. I thought that defense was going to stiffen up against us and really make us earn things. We really had no issue moving the ball, running it down their throat. They didn't shock me that much. So I got to tell you, Catfish, I think you can beat these guys, but it will come down to those big uglies in the trenches because if that defensive line starts kind of pushing you around, that's going to be a problem. But I like Tennessee's chances there. Why not?
Well,
I agree completely.
The offensive line, like you said, is going to make or break us. I don't know if it's a combination we can do, shuffle up the players, but we don't have the talent there on offensive line. And I'm tired of hearing fans of other teams talk about. But I tell you what, Garantano sure is a tough kid, because he's getting his brains beat in on just about every snap. And that's got to be coming to an end. We've got to be able to block. We haven't been able to run the ball. We've been trying this running on first down almost every series and get stuffed or lose a yard. I don't know what the answer is, but I think we can beat Kentucky. I think last week maybe was a wake-up call. I don't know if you can say Tennessee has a wake-up call because we're not a good team right now, but we didn't play very well against Charlotte, and our offensive line was piss poor. We had one punt return for a touchdown, but we've got some wide receiver talent. It's just that I don't know if they're not getting open or if Garantano doesn't have enough time to get it to them, but I do know that one of the knocks on Garantano is he holds the ball too long and he takes too many sacks. But I'm excited about the game. I mean, we got to get back to beating Kentucky. I know Donnie Shepard, he follows me pretty regular. He's a Kentucky fan, but Donnie, we're beating Kentucky, so you might as well get it through your head right now. Go ahead and accept defeat, but we're beating Kentucky, and I don't think they should be ranked number 11. I don't know about what you think, but what do you think, Alan? Can you give my team a vote of confidence?
I am absolutely giving Tennessee a vote of confidence this Saturday. 3:30, right? Saturday, 3:30?
Yep.
I got an interesting scenario I want to run by both of you guys before I hang up.
Yeah.
I was looking at the perspective of the playoff scenario for the national championship, and of course, Bama sitting 1, Clemson sitting 2, Notre Dame I think is 3, is right, and then Michigan 4. Is that right?
I think so.
That's correct.
Okay. I was just spitballing, thinking ahead. The SEC championship game, December 1st, whatever it is, second day of December. If Georgia were to beat Bama, would they exclude Alabama from the Final Four, or would they get in and bump an possibly undefeated Notre Dame team at that point? Earlier in the season, Notre Dame defeated Michigan. So that's a real disaster if Georgia were to pull it off the first week of December. What do you think?
I don't. Here's what I think. I think if you lose the SEC title this year, you don't make the college football playoff. I just don't see Clemson and Notre Dame and Michigan losing. I think that what would happen, though, is if Georgia wins, it's going to be really tough for us to win that national title. Well, it always is anyway, but the thing is if we beat Alabama, more than likely we would get in there at number 4 because Clemson would go to number 1, Notre Dame number 2, Michigan number 3, which means we have to play Clemson and probably Alabama kind of back-to-back there. So while I think that we match up pretty well with Clemson, that's a tall order for a young team like that to get through it. But if we get that momentum, it's kind of an interesting perspective because say if we go and play our best game, and let's say we beat Alabama 34-28 or something crazy like that, you would almost kind of want to see the team keep playing because of momentum. And when you have that layoff after a win like that, that's a little concerning. But I don't see Alabama getting in, and I definitely don't see Georgia getting in if we lose. So I just not this year. It would be hard for them to pull that off again.
Well, I think that if Notre Dame loses, I think that increases the chance. If it's a close game or it goes into overtime and Georgia wins, say by a field goal, last-second field goal, and Notre Dame loses, I think it increases the chance of maybe putting Alabama in there. Now, that would just make everybody go crazy outside the SEC. I mean, they'd lose their mind.
Well, I don't see it this year. Yeah, I don't see it this year.
What if an undefeated Notre Dame team got left out of the Final Four?
I don't think they will.
Did that happen?
I don't think so either. Yeah.
I don't think that happens.
People would go nuts.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I just wanted to get your thoughts on it. Thank you so much.
Well, before you go, we had a question, Alan. What kind of adjustments do you think your team needs to make going forward through the end of the season and maybe into the off season? That's going to kind of be our question for everybody. I know your team's pretty good, but no team's perfect.
No, absolutely not. I think they're going to have to go ahead and stick with their offensive game plan, running first, throwing it out to the receivers a little bit more, not a lot, a little bit more. And then on defense, they're going to have to continue playing the young guys. Last week, a lot of the true redshirt freshmen, true freshmen, young sophomores, got in there and really played well against Kentucky. And they're just going to have to trust the youth movement, take some of the older guys that are not performing well on defense, just bench those guys or not let them play as often, and keep rotating in the youth. That is, it just looks statistically that they're better players on the bench that are deserving of more playing time this late in the year. I don't know how Cal's coach thinks about that, but I'd like his opinion on that. The younger guys need to be able to play more and just live or die with the consequences.
Yeah, I agree. And that's just what we have to live with this year, Alan. I think this team, I mean, and I think I heard Lou's, kind of video a couple days ago, and he made some really good points about, top to bottom, this is a more talented team than probably the team we had last year, but we don't have those superstar kind of players like a Roquan or a Nick Chubb or Sony Michel. But we have a lot of very, very good players, and they're learning, and we're just living and dying with that inexperience, like you said. And that's what's really frustrating when we're going against an Alabama is, for the most part, we can win a lot with this talent that we have out there, but it's going to be hard to do that with the inexperience. Mm-hmm. And when you see things like we can't punch it in from the 1 yard line, see, that's a mental thing, and that's an inexperience thing. Because a year ago, you would see a guy like Sony Michel jump on an offensive lineman's butt and say, "What is your problem? Get off the line and block somebody," right? So we had that leadership there, and that's what's the challenge with this team. But I think in our front seven, especially on defense, we really got to get a lot better there about generating a pass rush and stopping runs for minimal gains. I mean, that linebacking core especially really needs to get fixed because I've seen way too many 7, 8, 9 yard runs up the middle. That has got to be fixed in a hurry.
Yeah. Well, Alan.
Well, fellas, I really enjoy the show. Keep it up. I really appreciate you having me on.
All right, buddy. Thank you. We're going to go to the 629 area code, and I appreciate Alan calling in. He's always a good call. But before we do, I'm going to give a shout-out to everybody I see. Now, if I can't shout everybody out, don't get mad because I'm having to do a bunch of things at once with this OBS program, and it's hard to do a lot of the functions. But if you call in, you can hear the show while you're on hold, and I'm going to give out a free volunteer Roadshow T-shirt to anybody that calls in. I've got Alan V's shirt address, so I may send him one too. But I need some callers, especially Kentucky fan. We've got Christian A in here, K.A. Sheehy, Hound Dog, Alan V, Justin Sanday, Matt G is in the house. I appreciate y'all tuning in and listening to us. We're just two fans giving an opinion, but this show is really built on you guys. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your opinion. Donnie Shepard, great Kentucky fans in here. Joshua Simmons, Gate City Blue Devil. He says greetings from Flint Rock, Tennessee. How you doing, buddy? I'm trying to get to the Missouri game, Gate City, and maybe I can do that. Vol Advocate's always in here. Great Tennessee fan. T. Involver, Reagan's in here. Herbert Bradford's in the house. David Jackson. Slim Mosley. Slim Mosley's always in here. Man, I've got a lot of Georgia fans that listen to me. DSGB, I know him. I talked to him on the phone. Good guy, good Georgia fan. That's all I see right now. Vol General's in here. I guess that's everybody. Let's see if I missed anybody. I think I got everybody. If I missed you, I'm sorry. But to piggyback off of what Alan said, and I'm going to get to this caller on hold in just a minute. I appreciate you holding. But do you not think that the Final Four really should be the 4 best teams? And you can't say that if Georgia beats Alabama, say by a field goal, and I know wins and losses matter, and especially losses late in the season, but you still couldn't say that they weren't a top 4 team even if they lost in the SEC championship game. Because there's a lot of pressure on these kids when you go to that championship game or into the playoffs undefeated.
Well, I can say that because to me, it's not about the 4 best teams in college football. It's about the 4 most deserving teams in college football, and there's a difference there. And if you're Alabama with the recruiting advantages that you have and the money that you have in your program, you should line up every year and waltz in your division. So when you can't win your division and when you can't win your conference, too bad, so sad, your dad, you don't get into the playoff, right?
Yeah.
Alabama and the Ohio States and to be fair, the Georgias and the Clemsons, if you can't win your division with the talent that you have, you're out, right? So to me, it's about the 4 best teams. Now, would I want to see a UCF get in there, knowing that they're not the best out of the 4? Probably not. But at the same time, you can't deny a Utah or a Boise State or a UCF when they're doing what they need to do to win, and some of these other guys can't. Now, would Alabama blow out a UCF?
Yeah.
Absolutely they would, right? So would Georgia, so would Oklahoma. But at some point, you do have to have value to, some of those things. And if you can't do that, then you go to the 8 game, which we would be doing. But I just think if you're going to make a conference title game important, then you need to have it or not have it. And if we're going to go to an 8 game playoff, then get rid of those conference games if they don't matter and just have the 8 best teams in the final rankings play each other.
Well, let's grab a call. Before we grab a call, I'm going to give me a sip of coffee. And after the call, we're going to go over these pick'ems because we're still doing pretty good. We didn't do too good last week, but overall for the season, we've been doing pretty good. But let's go to the phone lines. Let's see here. You're on with Catfish and Couch, Coach. Who do we got and what you got for us?
How you doing, Catfish? Is the ball general here?
Hey, buddy. How you doing? What
Real
you
good.
got?
And I'll tell you, man, that South Carolina game, I thought that was what's going to determine if we're going to make a bowl game or not. I've been saying that since before the season started. After the game, it's going to determine if we can get to 6-6.
Mm-hmm.
And heartbroken when we lost it. To win that game, we outplayed them, and the defense just laid down there at the end. But it looks like they're going to get a second chance here with Kentucky. If we can beat Kentucky, which I think we will, I think we should beat Vanderbilt pretty good. I don't think we beat Missouri, but I do think we will beat Vanderbilt. And if we can win it tomorrow, definitely going to get to a bowl game. So here's what I think we have to do. That offensive line, I think that's what's going to determine the game. Garantano, it's been proven, when Garantano gets that pass rush at him, he crumbles.
Mm-hmm.
He crumbles. Todd Grantham of Florida, when he brought that blitz, he couldn't handle it. That led to turnovers. So if Kentucky blitzes him and our offensive line can't handle it and he's having guys in his face, it could get ugly. What do you think?
I agree. That South Carolina game was a disappointment. It was. That's an understatement. I don't know. I still think we're getting to a bowl game. It would have been a lot easier if we'd have won that South Carolina. And me and Couch Coach was talking before the show about how we can't figure out South Carolina. So I don't know how we didn't win that game. But anyway, I'm at a loss for words about it. I don't even want to think about South Carolina. We should have won that game. Our defense disappeared in the second half. And I'm tired of saying we need an offensive line. Sooner or later, a 310-pound kid should be able to block somebody. I mean, they're Division I for crying out loud. I don't know what the answer is. I know there's offensive linemen that are better than others, but still, we've got some kids that should be able to block somebody.
Well, I tell you guys, and just listening to all this, as a fan looking and listen, most of the Georgia teams I've experienced in my lifetime, a bad season is like 8-4, right? Every once in a while we have 6-6, and the bad teams that I remember are like these Falcons teams locally for me. And what you want to see is when you have a bad football team or you got a young football team and you're trying to improve, is you want to get rid of the mental errors. Like you want to have that kind of that ability to get rid of that and take shots and have some confidence, and you want to see improvement as the season goes along. And I think that's what's frustrating with the coaching. It's like, come on, guys, the offside penalties, the illegal procedures. Like, look at that Auburn game. That's a game you guys should not have won this year. Auburn is a better team top to bottom than you guys this year, right? So you look at that and it's like, okay, what are the things we did in this Auburn game? Well, we showed some freaking, intestinal fortitude. We took some shots down the field. We didn't get down on ourselves when things weren't going right? So you take those lessons and you apply it moving forward. Is Kentucky a better team than Auburn? I don't think so. What about Missouri? I don't think so, right? So it's like, just get out of your own way and tighten up in some certain situations. But you got to lessen on those penalties and the dumb, mental errors. I mean, that's bad coaching. You should call your coaching staff out on that.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you a question,
one
Vol
more
General. There's been a lot of people that have messaged me, and then I see in these comments that we should ride Keller Chris the rest of the season. What do you think?
Yeah, I was about to ask you the same thing. But here's my opinion on it. Look, when Jared Garantano, from time to time, he's countlessly proven this. When he gets under the blitz, when he gets pressured, he will crumble. He crumbles like a cookie every time he gets under that pressure. Todd Grantham, defensive coordinator at Florida, when he sends that blitz, guess what happens? Turnovers. Can't complete a pass, can't get the first down. And from what I've seen, Keller Chris just does a better job at managing the blitz. And I think that's what you have to go with because, and by the way, if Kentucky doesn't pass rush Garantano, I don't know what they're doing. Because that's literally all you have to do to shut down Jared Garantano. Send the blitz, he won't be able to handle it. So I definitely think we should go with Keller Chris going on. What do you think, Catfish?
I haven't watched enough games to give an opinion, and that's what's so bad about this job with me driving. Most of every game, I've watched a couple of games this year. Most everything has been on the radio. Of course, you get to hear the plays, and you get to hear them describe the plays. I think we should put Keller Chris in there. I mean, we're trying to get to a bowl game. I don't want to go to a bowl game at 5-7. I want to go to a bowl game at 6-6, and I prefer to go to a bowl game at 7-5. And we've got a chance of doing that. I think we really do. But we got to buckle down and block and tackle better. There's just a lot of things we got to do better. And I think Pruitt has got us going in the right direction. I really do. But before I let you go, I'm going to ask you a question and just give me a quick yes or no. Should a 5-7 team make a bowl game?
No.
All right. Appreciate it, buddy. I think I've got a Kentucky fan finally calling in, but I appreciate it, Vol General. Y'all go check him out. He's doing some YouTube videos. But let's see if this is who I think it is. Let me get him on here. Hold on. You're on with Catfish and Couch Coach. What you got?
What's going on, Catfish?
Not much.
Hey, I got to disagree with the last caller. I definitely think Kentucky's better than Missouri and Auburn. And I called in because I wanted to talk about the Bama situation.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody thinks that Bama won't get in if Georgia beats Bama. Bama's getting in.
Yeah.
You couldn't take, Bama will be losing to what? The 5th-ranked team in the country, the last game of the season. They're going to get in regardless. What do you think?
I don't know what the committee's going to do. Go ahead, Couch Coach.
I don't know. I mean, you're saying if like Clemson and Notre Dame and Michigan win out and Georgia beats Alabama, that Alabama's getting in. I have a hard time foreseeing that scenario.
Absolutely.
So who's getting out? Notre Dame?
I don't know which one will be put out, but one of them will. I mean, we're talking about the SEC.
I don't think so. Not this year. If all those teams win out, I have Georgia will be in there at number 4 playing Clemson. There'll be Notre Dame and Michigan. Now if Notre Dame loses and then Michigan goes to number 2 and Georgia wins, yes, I could possibly foresee a scenario where Alabama gets in at 4. But if all those teams win out, I just don't think so.
Well, I heard the same thing last year.
Yeah, we heard there's no way Alabama's getting in, and they got in. I think there was enough.
And they won.
Yeah, and they won. But it's like Couch Coach said, it's not, the best team. There's a lot that goes into that. And I'd like to know what the dang formula is that they're using to rank these, because you look at rankings 10 through 20, like Carolina Jackpot said on my show when Uncle Lou was on with me, it's laughable. Like, where's LSU ranked? They've lost 2 games. Look where they're at. Florida's lost 3. I don't see what they're using as a metric for these rankings.
Well, that's how much, power they give the SEC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I think Georgia has a shot at Bama. I mean, anybody has a shot at one game. But I still think Bama's a level above Georgia. Georgia's a level above Kentucky, and then I think Bama's a level above Georgia. I mean, they're a level above everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't argue with, Go ahead, Couch Coach. My bad.
Yeah, no, you're good, man. I think that, and that's a good assessment, and I think that, and this is what I'm trying to tell Tennessee fans too. Georgia needs to play the long game here, and I think it's so easy to compare yourself to Alabama all the time because look what they're doing with Tua. Look what they're right. It's okay to have a young team every once in a while and get those guys experience and build it up and then build for the next 2 or 3 years, right? I've said from the very beginning of this season, look, Georgia's going to go about 11-3 or 12-2 this year. Now, if all the cards align correctly and we play great football at the end of the year, could we knock off an Alabama and get in there? Of course we could, right? But with this team, with the freshmen and the sophomores that we're playing, what I want to see is building towards 2019, 2020, right? And that's what you should feel about your program. And this is where Tennessee fans need to have some patience too. It's like, come on, guys. You got a young team. You got a team that got their brains beat out the year before. You got a brutal schedule, and you guys are expecting to go 8-4. I mean, at some point, you got to be like, look, let's just see competitiveness. Let's see fight. Let's see what we can get out of this year and build for 2019, 2020. So I think college football fans in general just need to have that mentality a little bit more than they do.
Alabama.
Right. I mean, and I understand.
Go ahead. Alabama's kind of ruined that for everybody. And Clemson, having these long runs and that Alabama dynasty, there's a lot of money that goes along with being in Alabama. And these fan bases are like, they're seeing 3 or 4 or 5 teams just so much better than everybody else, and then they get that gets them more exposure on television, which gets them more recruiting, which feeds the whole machine. And I think previously good teams like Tennessee, who had some, they're a great team all time, we're impatient, and we've been chasing that carrot for 15 years now, 20 years now. And I think teams like Tennessee, it's hard to be patient. And I've had to learn. I thought we were going to be better than we are right now before the season. I really thought we were. And I had to just come to terms, we're not a good team right now. And it's going to be a slow process. And it's hard to do when you see your rivals like Georgia start doing well. It's just hard to take. You want to be doing well with them.
Well, I was going to say, Catfish, I understand the Bama hate. We're SEC fans. We get tired of seeing Bama win all the time. So, I understand it. But you have to give them credit. Saban's built a dynasty.
Yeah.
We hate it. Nobody hates it worse than we do because we're tired of seeing them dominate the SEC. But it is what it is.
So, who's your team?
And I think, do what, Catfish?
Who's your team?
Oh, Kentucky's my team.
I wasn't sure.
I was going to say...
the screener said Tony Shepard, but it's Donnie Shepard. And I'm like, all right, if this is a Kentucky fan, I didn't want to start jumping off in you and you weren't even a Kentucky fan. But let me tell you something, Donnie.
Right.
We're tired of this. We haven't been playing well the last couple of weeks. We should have won to South Carolina. I think we have more to play for than Kentucky has to play for. I think that Kentucky has banged up. Georgia banged them up a little bit. I'm just saying. I think we come out with a W.
I agree. Well, I think Kentucky's not done very well in Knoxville. So you definitely have a chance. But I think your offensive line's what hurt you, Catfish.
Yeah.
And we do really have a good defense. I know it didn't look that way against Georgia, but I think the moment was too big for Kentucky, actually. Not to say that Georgia wasn't the better team, but
Yeah.
I also think that it was a big stage for us, and I just don't think they handled it well. You know what I mean?
Well, just speaking of the slow process, that's what Kentucky has had. I don't think any other fan base would have had the patience that Kentucky fans have, because they've got a sport that they could be proud of in basketball. But it goes to show you, if you stick with them long enough, y'all got a lot of experience on your team. You have a coaching staff that's been there for I don't know how long, a long time, and he's starting to recruit. And Kentucky, I don't think it's a one-year wonder. I think they're going to steady get better, and they're going to be the talk of the middle pack to upper middle pack of the SEC East for the next few years if they keep progressing.
And you guys are going to get back there again, Catfish. I mean, you've always been a big football school, and you'll get back there. You know what I'm saying? It just takes a little bit.
Yep.
And you guys got so low that it's going to take a little bit to get yourself built back up. But you guys have always had obviously you've always dominated us, but you've always had a good football team.
Yeah. And you know what else we have that's good, don't you? We've got a good basketball team.
Yeah, you might be better than us this year, too, on that Catfish.
What happened against Duke?
Man, I don't know. I stopped watching it after the first half. I was like, I'm tired of watching this mess. And I expected us to lose. I really did, but not by that much.
Yeah. What was the final
It was
score?
kind of embarrassing. I think they got beat by 38. I don't know what the final score was, but
jeez, I never saw that.
Everybody picked Duke to be, maybe to win it all this year, and I figured we'd get beat, but not that bad.
Yeah. Well, Calipari's getting them one.
But I'll hop off here, Catfish.
All right, buddy. Thanks for calling. I appreciate
it was good talking to you. Good talking to you, Couch Coach.
Yes, sir. Have a great one.
We've got a couple of them stacked up. We're going to go to the 864. He was a good call for a Kentucky fan.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Let's see. Hit the right button here. You're on with Catfish and Couch Coach. What you got? Are you there, caller? Going once. Twice. We're going to drop. We're going to go to the 910 and see what we got here. You're on with Catfish and Couch Coach. What do you got? Looks like they hung up. Anyway, what are we got going for the picks, Couch Coach?
Yes, sir. So we got Georgia and Auburn.
Whoa. 864 is calling back in. Let's get them.
All right.
You're on with Catfish and Couch Coach. What you got?
May there, you there?
May there.
Are you there? How you doing? 864 call with me.
Well, you didn't answer.
I was sitting there screaming like I was yelling at my youngins and couldn't get anybody to say anything to me.
Oh.
How you doing, buddy?
We're doing good.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Lord, I tell you right now, if I get any happier, it'd be like somebody's under the table tickling my toes. I'm happy. I tell you this, I'm ready for college football for this weekend. Can't get enough. Lord, I sat and watched two teams the other night that was in wheelchairs play each other college football. It was one of those special schools in one of those obscure states, and I still loved every bit of it. I'm telling you, it's a great time of the year, y'all.
Well, Bobby, I've got some news for you. I heard some stuff that you wouldn't like. People on the radio, they get paid to pontificate about college football. And I've heard more than one.
Pontificate.
Pontificate. About college football. They get paid.
I pontificated on myself.
I've heard more than
Ruined
one.
a pair of just khakis.
I've heard more than one of them that say Boston College has a chance. What do you think?
Well, let me tell you this. You know me, I'm a realist. I'm a pessimist, and I kill cats for a living. With that said, I cannot turn my nose up to the notion and the thought that Clemson could lose, because let's go ahead. My beloved Tigers has been the very one who has went out and stunk up the place last couple of years. Last year we went up to sleepy Syracuse, upstate New York. Nothing good in upstate New York. Bunch of weird talking people. And we lost the game. We lost the game in front of those 23 people that was there at the game. Year before that, won a national championship, but we ended up losing those losers up there in Pittsburgh. So does Boston College have a chance? Yes. Do we also see a thread of commonality in between these three teams? Yes. They're from the north. So, is there a chance? Yes. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, me and my good buddy Pete was at the game. Prince, 6'1". He's on here. I saw him. He's in the comment section. He was heaven's little angel. He took me and Pigskin to the Clemson-Louisville game, and we watched our Tigers. 10 different players score 11 touchdowns total. And I'm telling you right now, we're going to beat Boston College. Their best player's hurt. I mean, he's hobbling on a cane.
I'm listening.
Yeah, we're going to win. We're going to win. We're going to win. We're going to beat them. Those other people that is defecating on themselves, you were talking about just a second ago, and they're on the radio defecating all over the place, and they're still rolling live. I'm telling you right now, they're wrong. My God, they pay. Lord, I can sit here and name out about 15 people that's on TV right now who has absolutely no business on TV, and they're paying them tons of money to talk about college football just because they play. So I don't take any stock with that. We know Clemson's going to come out there tomorrow night in front of God and everybody, beat the crap out of them Yankee-talking rednecks. We're going to beat them, and that's going to be in the story. And then we'll be next on the deep next week. There you go.
Well, before I go ask Bobby a question, do you got anything for Bobby, Couch Coach?
Yeah, I just don't see any way you guys are going to – I just see Clemson winning out. I mean, the ACC and just the way you guys are playing and the way your team has kind of come together the last few weeks, I know that you guys have some kind of garbage losses. And, Catfish and I have talked about how sometimes it's better to have kind of a crud loss in the year to get it out of your system, and then you go and play playoff football. But except for maybe Alabama, I just don't see a lot of teams that are going to beat you guys right now. No, and I'm with you. I'm with you there. Can anybody beat anybody on any given Saturday? Within reason, yes. I mean, we saw that with Appalachian State. I know that everybody talks about that game, but you got to think, even though those boys were talented, they went to Michigan over 10 years ago and beat a team who had the talent to win a national championship. They beat them at their house. So that showed us right there once for all anything's possible, okay? I'm just telling you, I have been watching our team since they had that scare against Syracuse, which Syracuse ended up not being that bad if you look at their record. Truth is, our boys are playing. They're playing tough. We're throwing the ball downfield. Go get that concept. Throwing the ball downfield. You get a once in a lifetime football player, and he's throwing the ball downfield. Go figure that we would actually start scoring. Who knew? But I tell you this, they look good. Catfish, let me tell you this, buddy. Your Tennessee Vols, you just cross your toes, your fingers, nose hairs if possible. You guys are going to be fine in the long run. You're going to be fine. But I tell you this, don't take any advice from anybody from Miami, Ole Miss, Arkansas, Southern Cal on how to rebuild a program, because all I say, it'll really end up a mess. All right?
Yeah. Well, let me ask you a question before you go. What does Clemson have to do if they play Alabama to beat them? What do you got on your team? Who do you got? What weaknesses do you have that you need to hide a little bit from Alabama? Tell me about if Clemson played Alabama next week, what would you have to do to beat them?
Well, the first thing is you got to keep good pressure on Tua. We noticed in this 29-0 loss against LSU, there was one thing that I noticed in that game, and I know it's 29-0. I know they gave up 600 yards. A defense, no matter who they are, will give up a ton of yardage if you keep marching them back out there and your offense is punting left and right. It's going to happen if you're playing a prolific. That's what a lot of people's forgetting. Listen, I might be a redneck, and I might sound like I might make out with my cousin every now and again, which I did. But with that said, she was hot, and she was just far enough 10 away from me that Jesus didn't give me stank face. But with all that said, I still know football. And the point is here, no matter who you are, you keep marching the defense out there. With no offense, you're going to give up yardage. It's called fatigue. People get tired. With that said, we saw Alabama get pressure. I know, Tua's ankle was hurt. I get that. We saw him throwing some bad passes. I think he threw his first interception of the season. Clemson, on the other hand, Clemson's secondary has been said to be weak. Well, that's because their front seven is so darn strong. Of course they look weak. They're not weak. They're tightening up. They're getting better. We will put pressure on Tua, with a good ankle or not. We will put pressure on him. He's going to get his place because he's a good football player. He's got good football players out there. They're going to get their place. What we have on the other side of the ball, though, defensively, is we have great players. NFL talent, front seven.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Then on our offensive side of the ball, we do have a true freshman. Now, I had an Alabama fan. Now, us Clemson fans, I don't know if y'all know about this. Us Clemson fans, Alabama fans, we have a lot of respect for each other. Most of us do. Because what's happened over the past 3 years in talent level. Sweeney come from Alabama. He played on the 1992 national championship team for Gene Stallings. There's a lot of respect there. But I had somebody had the piss for brains to say this to me. Y'all don't think y'all going to take a true freshman quarterback and win the national championship? And my reply to them was, I don't know. Let me think the last time somebody benched their 25-2 starter at halftime in the national championship and put in a true freshman to lead their team to the national championship. Here's the difference to us and Lawrence. Lawrence has been playing all season long. He's strong. Yeah. Our wide receivers were 7 deep. We have 3 great running backs and 1 really solid running back. Am I going to say we just beat the crap out of Alabama? No. We can beat Alabama. I promise you that. That's not a fan talking. That's a football player. That's a football realist talking. We can beat them head to head. We can beat them. And if we played 2 games, they would get their wins. We'd get our wins. We can beat Alabama. We are a complete team, whether we got a freshman or not at quarterback. That youngin can play. He's outrageous.
Yeah.
So, only thing, here's our weakness. I do have questions sometimes with the offensive line. I do. With that said, I'd love to play Alabama right now.
So Bobby Durkins wants Alabama. I don't know. There's been a lot of people that say that, and then after the game, they like, why did I say that?
But hey, here's the difference. Here's the difference with that. And I can even bring in some of the big names that's on TV talking about this. They say this: it's Alabama, Clemson, and everybody else.
You're right.
Does anybody else have as good aside from Alabama? Does Georgia have Clemson's talent on the defense and the offense? No. Does Michigan have it on the offense and the defense like Clemson? No. Does Oklahoma? No. Does Ohio State? Lord, they too busy beating their people up in behind closed doors. No. Does Notre Dame have it? No. Does Alabama have it? Yes. And that's who we're looking at.
But
you
Bobby,
heard it first here.
Bobby,
Clemson,
next year, wait till next year, Tennessee's going to have it, because you know why? We're going 15-0. I promise you that.
Oh, Lord. You've been taking them pain pills again, ain't you?
Well, Bobby, I've got a stack of calls lined up, and I want to get everybody a chance to get on here.
Well,
I love it when you call. Love it. Go kill you some cats.
Oh, Lord, I love calling.
Go kill you some cats.
Y'all
I hate
be
cats. Good. You can't kill too many cats. Kill every one of them you see, buddy.
Oh, no. No, they said the devil showed up as a snake. Nope. He was a feline. You heard it here first. Hey, y'all be good, Couch Coach. Good talk to you. You be good. You take care of yourself, Catfish. I still owe you a coffee or something.
Yeah, you do. Pilot
Bye-bye.
Flying J coffee, by the way. It's the best on the road. All right, Bobby.
All right. We'll do it. Bye.
All right, we're going to take a 423 call. Sorry you was on hold for so long. This is Catfish and Couch Coach. What you got?
Hey, it's KC Blue Devil.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Been up here in Flint Rock, Tennessee. Hey, Couch Coach.
How you doing, sir?
Doing good. I'm getting ready to dial in the Green Devils and listen to them on their next step to the championship. But I just want to call in and say, hey, I just want to say I love the show.
I appreciate that.
And go Vols.
Go Vols. I might make it down there for that Missouri game. I told BVD last night on the phone, I said, man, I won't know till probably Tuesday or Wednesday if I can make it. But I'll let you know because I sure like to go.
Yeah, that's not a problem. I mean, the ticket's there for you, so.
I appreciate that, buddy.
You know, if you get to make it, that'd be great. If you don't, I guess somebody fill in or whatnot. But don't worry about that. Yeah, man, I'm hoping to get to meet you.
Yeah, buddy.
Wanted to say, too, I love the W900L. Man, that thing is sharp.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that.
And I'm glad you made it through that the tail end of that other truck there.
Yep.
That could have been a lot worse, man.
I still got some backaches from it. Every now and then I've got to eat Excedrin like they're sweet tarts, but I that's the only thing that touches it. I don't want to get on any pain pills because they're too addicting. But I made it, and I'm alive, and I appreciate you checking on me, buddy.
Yes, sir. Anyway, I'm going to let you go since you got some calls stacked up and everything, but hopefully I get to see you at the Missouri game.
That'd be great.
I hope we run the table, and that's all you do is wish for the best.
We're going to a
and
bowl
I enjoyed
game.
Uncle Lou. Yeah, I promise you that. Hey, I enjoyed Uncle Lou the other night there. I think one of my favorite reaction things was Jacob, Eason, Christ when we threw that bomb down there. Because when we have a season like we're having, you got to go back and look at some old stuff and kind of relive some things. And
that was a good show.
Got a kid playing quarterback. What's going on with him? Do you know about him?
Who's that?
Heath Schuler's son.
I've heard about that.
He's playing quarterback at his high school.
Has he committed?
I don't know,
to
man.
Tennessee?
Maybe I'd like to see another coming to him because Heath Schuler's one of my favorite quarterbacks. I know he, the NFL wasn't much, and all that, but hey, when he was playing, man, he was like.
He was good.
I mean, I hate to compare like with Tim Tebow. I mean, he could do it all like he could throw way down the field. He could run the ball. I mean, he was just a ball player.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite games was when they played in '92 against Florida, and it came out downpour and Spurrier standing over there.
Yeah.
Drenched with water up to his ankles or whatever. I was wiping my tail off that, but that was a great win there.
I remember that.
But anyway, go Vols, Couch Coach. Hope the Georgia Bulldogs do good there. And
yes, sir.
I'll talk at you later on.
Yes, sir. Have a great one, sir.
See ya.
I tell you what, that's what I like about this show. I've met so many great people, and that's why I do this show. I mean, I've met some good ones, Gate City Blue Devil, Billy Cole Jr. I've met him. There's just been a bunch of yous that I've met, and I just love interacting with the fans. But let's get somebody's been on hold for a little while. We've got two more that are on hold. We'll grab them, and then we're going to get on off here, Couch Coach. You're on with Catfish and Couch Coach. What you got, buddy?
Hey, Catfish.
Hey, buddy.
Hey. I think Tennessee's going to win tomorrow because Kentucky just got humiliated by my Blue Devils on Tuesday, 34 points. Now they're going to go back to football, but when Tennessee beat Kentucky tomorrow, they're going to move back to basketball.
Sounds like a plan.
We're going to win. We're going to win. I tell you what.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are at home.
What you need to be worrying about is, you need to be worrying that Tennessee doesn't get in your side of the bracket, because if they do, y'all won't be going to the Final Four. I promise you that. So that's what you need to be working on, because Tennessee is going to be a good team.
Yeah, in basketball. But we okay in football this year. I mean, we bowl eligible. We 6-3.
Not too shabby.
Yeah, Cutcliffe's doing pretty good there. Yeah,
Yeah.
Cutcliffe's. I mean, Tennessee should have got Cutcliffe back for a few years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what else you got?
UNC.
What else you got before I have to get off here? I've got to hit the road pretty soon. What else you got? Let me ask you a question. Should a 5-7 team make a bowl game? Yes or no?
Well, if you could look back to 2015, Nebraska and UCLA did play, and they were both 5-7. So I think if enough teams doesn't have 6 wins, they're gonna go to like a 5-7 team because no one's gonna mostly have 6 wins.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I appreciate it, buddy. So, I'm gonna grab another call here because we're running up against the clock. But thanks for calling. You're always a great caller on this show. And hang in there, buddy.
All right.
I think I know who this last one is. Should I take it, Couch Coach? We've had a pretty good show.
Bring on the delusion.
Well, we've had a pretty good show so far, but Delusional Paul's on hold. All right, I'm going to give him another chance. Let me bring him on here, and then after we get him on, we're going to get on off here. You're on with Catfish and Couch Coach. Make it interesting, or I'm dropping you. What you got?
SEC.
I thought you was a Big
Ten
fan.
Bama, baby. Bring on Bama. That's called sarcasm.
Oh.
Bring on Alabama. I've got some resurrected hope with my Buckeyes. Got the biggest game of the year tomorrow on the road. A trap game at noon against our former defensive coordinator, Mark D'Antonio, Michigan State. If you want to watch it, it's going to be on Fox Sports 1 at noon. And Bobby Durkin, if you're still listening, you still owe me that cat. We got all kind of snakes around my house, and they said if you get a cat, it would keep the snakes away. I chopped the snake's head off with the shovel, put it on Facebook, and all these animal people were messaging me. And I think they're trying to get a lawsuit or something because I chopped the snake. Get a cat.
I got a question for you. I got a question for you, Paul. Are you going to let my Falcons just ball all over your team this weekend, or what?
Hey, I was actually hanging out with Ricardo Allen tonight. Purdue. Remember him?
I remember him.
Yeah, he's recovering from that injury. He's a good guy. But Falcons are going to beat the Browns, and Browns are all banged up on defense. They got nothing to play for. Falcons are going to get that win on the road in freezing cold Cleveland, Ohio. But yeah, Couch Coach, I work for several Atlanta Falcons.
Well, that's cool.
I don't know if you knew.
Well, name drop them. Go ahead,
name
drop.
Coaches.
Who?
Well, yeah, I don't want. I'll tell Couch Coach publicly, but I'll say some of the best players on the Falcons are customers and friends.
Oh, okay.
Well, there you go.
So you really
and
think
it's funny.
You really think that Ohio State's going to the playoffs, or you come back to reality? Did you let reality back?
I was getting nervous. Because in order for this to happen, they're going to need some help. Because if Oklahoma wins out and Notre Dame wins out, then you're going to have three. Because Clemson and Alabama are going to the college football playoff. But what are you going to do when Oklahoma's your Big 10 or Big 12 champion with one loss? Ohio State's your Big 10 champion with one loss, and Notre Dame's undefeated. How do you pick out of those three teams who goes? So that's what makes me nervous. But I do think football-wise, Ohio State can beat Michigan State. They can beat Maryland. It's going to take everything they got and then some to beat Michigan, but it's not like David and Goliath. Pretty equally matched team. Maybe Michigan's a little bit better, but it's going to be the rivalry game in Columbus on Senior Day. I think Ohio State can win that game, and the Big Ten championship should be pretty easy. So I'm back to having hope in my Buckeyes, and step one is just to take care of business on the road tomorrow.
Well, they're not going to the playoffs, so you didn't keep it really interesting, and I'm up against the clock. But I love it when you call. You at least give us a chuckle. I have to say that you make my viewers laugh. You get the comment section all stirred up. You get Couch Coach all wired up. You get Uncle Lou needing blood pressure medicine. So keep calling in, buddy. Me and Couch Coach are going to go over some pick'ems, and then I'm going to get off here. Thanks for calling, buddy.
Thanks for your time. See ya.
All right, let's go over these picks. Who you taking, Georgia or Auburn? What's the point spread there, real quick? Georgia favored by 14.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, what do you think? Since this is my team, what do you think?
I'd say take Georgia. I don't think Auburn's very good. This is a rivalry game. It's at Georgia. I'm thinking like 7. When I first heard the game, without even knowing the point spread, I said, all right, that's going to be 17 to 20 points. In my mind, from what I've seen about Auburn, I think Georgia will get, I know you're upset with Chaney and all his, goal line, can't punch it in from the 1. But this is the time when you have to buckle them up, suit them up, strap them up, and play football. And Fromm, if you remember last year, came on strong the last 2 or 3 games of the season and into the playoffs. I think you're going to see a different Georgia this week with Auburn. I do. I say take Georgia and give up the points.
All right. Well, I like it. Yeah. I think that I was initially concerned about this kind of matchup when it was like 14.5, 15. But I think when you look at the last few years, and really the history of this rivalry was always the away team that would win the game and really make it interesting, and especially if you're underdog. But last few years, last 10 years especially, that hasn't really been the case. And Gus Malzahn the last couple times in Athens has scored a total of 7 points in the last 2 games he's played. And so that doesn't speak very well with the offensive struggles that they've had there. And so I'll take Georgia there. I don't feel 100% confident on the 14, but if you believe that, I'll go with it, and we'll go from there.
Tennessee, 5.5 point underdog. Definitely take Tennessee on the 5.5. Florida and South Carolina, I don't have the spread wrote down. And like we were talking in the pre-show prep, we don't know what South Carolina is and which one will show up. And a little bit, I feel the same way about Florida. You said they gave up when they don't have anything to play for. I don't know if that I would even put your money on either side. I don't care what the point spread is because they're both teams are too unpredictable. Alabama, Mississippi State, a 24-point favorite. Man, that's a lot of points. And Mississippi State has a good defense. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I do. But it's kind of like what Bobby and everyone else has been saying about those defenses. I mean, yes, you can have a great defense. LSU had a great defense. But you're just not going to game manage your way to a victory over Alabama. And these LSUs and these Mississippi States need to get that through their head. I mean, Nick Fitzgerald is not going to spread this team out and pinpoint accurate throw this team into a game, and I just don't see it. Last year they kept it close because it was in their place, and Alabama was dinged up. I think that's going to weigh heavily on Saban's mind, and I think they're going to mollywop Mississippi State tomorrow.
So you take Alabama and give up the points?
Yeah, I will. I mean, until they prove to me otherwise, I'm taking them on the points.
I just think that's a lot of points. I'm going to go with Mississippi State. I think Alabama wins by like 14-17. So I'm going to take Mississippi State. Let's see how it goes. But this has been a pretty good show, Couch Coach. But I have to go. I got to go fill up my Pilot Fine J Fillmore cup with coffee and hit the road, and hopefully I could get out of the state of New Mexico before I have to stop and use the facilities. But anyway, I want to thank all the callers, everybody in the live chat. I really, really appreciate it. I couldn't do it without you guys. So me and Couch Coach is going to get out of here. You know what's coming next. Thanks for tuning in. Go Vols. We're going to a bowl game, and we're beating Kentucky tomorrow. I promise you that.